talking about ideas.
They put my face on the Today Show and claimed I was pushing conspiracy theories, which was just total BS.
Sure, I don't know specifically which conspiracy theories that they claimed.
They claimed that because I reported on the Fox Business article about Seth Rich, I was pushing a conspiracy theory that Seth Rich leaked documents to WikiLeaks.
I'm personally inclined to believe that there is at least a greater than probability chance, again, my opinion, that Seth Rich was in fact the leaker. Now with Kim.com's statement, I'm sitting around a 57 to 65% chance that that Seth Rich was the leaker.
Friends, enemies, and those who'd rather stay neutral for fear of developing an unhealthy online parasocial relationship with me. Things are going simply fantastic here at HeyIt'sVadim. Our branding is going just... oh, crap. Well, guess I'm married to that now. Thanks, Thoughtslide. That really makes me feel a whole lot better. Anyhow, Tim Pool, for those who don't know, he's literally, I believe, the most successful independent YouTube
journalist,
as our friend Jeremy the Angry Gaming Yeti would say, and he's known for insightful takes such as this.
When Taylor Swift gets involved in the culture war, there's no escape. She's gonna start radicalizing people.
You're watching this channel, you probably know who he is, but this is not just any Tim Pool video. No, 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 no. Because we have, dare I say, scandalous, never before seen footage that Tim Pool does not want you to see. Seriously though, it does make him look really bad. He deleted it for a reason. And so, yes, we're going to just yank off that beanie to expose the bald naked truth, and it all stems from this clip right here, which I guess out of fairness, we should probably show in its entirety.
When they put my face on the Today Show and claimed I was pushing conspiracy theories, which was just total BS. I can't do anything about it.
Sure, I don't know specifically which conspiracy theories that they claimed.
They claimed that because I reported on the Fox Business article about Seth Rich, I was pushing a conspiracy theory that Seth Rich leaked documents to WikiLeaks, which then got picked up by other outlets who claimed I was claiming that Seth Rich was murdered because he leaked.
So was Tim Pool lying straight to Destiny's face right there? I don't really want to give away any spoilers, but yeah! Yes, he was in fact being a huge lying liar who lies a lot right there. And so in this video, we're going to explain why that matters. Why Tim deleted this non-stop cavalcade of pure unadulterated stupid. Why it's all very, disgusting. Yeah, I think that's the appropriate word. Disgusting. Yet another huge egregious lie that Pool told straight to Destiny's face that he very much knows is a lie, which he often repeats and just needs to stop. Why maybe Vaush or Vosh? Sorry, I'm just an idiot. Why maybe he should consider walking back a key statement he made about Tim Pool. And why this non-stop cavalcade of pure unadulterated stupid hits on nearly everything that is just very, 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 very not so good about Tim Pool. But before we get into all that, I am a conflicted man. I really want to get into the Tim Pool footage. Yet we have some explaining to do, and that's going to take a little bit of time. So I think I have the solution. Without commentary, I will give you a small taste of the least damning, yet thoroughly embarrassing Tim Pool clip we have. Fuck yeah!
People are telling me I'm conservative, and I'm like, dude, I'm I'm like center-left. I'm fairly moderate. The only reason I consider myself moderate is because I wouldn't vote on any of my opinions. Like, I am of the opinion that everyone thinks their opinion is right, therefore how can my opinion be right if everyone else's opinion is right? So it can't be, therefore my opinion's probably wrong and so is theirs. Who knows what's right? You know what, I'm done. I'm not voting for anybody. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's right. You do you, I'll do me. I have no idea. That's why I consider myself moderate.
Well said, Tim. So, the first thing you need to know is what Tim was referring to here is when Pool was invited by President Trump for his social media summit in 2019.
It's from the White House email? Kind of in disbelief. I'm invited to the White House.
It was basically a clown car gathering of conspiracy theorists, batshit QAnoners, and right-wing
journalists
known for things like dressing up as pimps and producing cringy Michael Jackson tribute videos that double as fraudulent propaganda. And totally super duper dank meme wizards like this guy. Now, I don't know about you, but I am so ready for those memes. I mean, look at what we got here. The old Lindsey Graham adjusting his tie meme. Classic. Harambe and Ajit Pai fidget spinner memes. Oh my god, sign me up. The No Girl? Oh god, really cutting edge stuff. No wonder the right is winning the meme war. Anyhow, back to Tim Pool. During this time, a number of lamestream media sites had the nerve to suggest that Tim Pool pushed Seth Rich related conspiracies, and Tim was just not having it. No. I mean, Tim was a journalist with integrity, and so naturally he threatened litigation over these spurious claims.
Watch your words, because I will sue you.
And for good reason. I mean, all he did was say that he didn't completely believe the Seth Rich conspiracies.
Media now falsely claiming that by saying I didn't completely believe Seth Rich leaked emails to WikiLeaks, I helped push the conspiracy theory.
He was getting retractions.
Oop, already got some retractions. Good work, editors. Appreciate it.
He was coming in for more.
Yahoo Lifestyle wanted to ask you to retract your false characterization in your story. Please correct soon. We'll be sending follow-up.
And he was loving it.
I'm loving it.
Oh, come on. Do you hear that smooth, heartfelt British voiceover? He was loving it. So this all couldn't be some kind of desperate attempt to use highly dubious legal threats to censor credible reporting from the pro-free speech beanie battle bro Tim Pool himself now, could it? Could it?
So, I'm personally inclined to believe that there is at least a greater than probability chance, again, my opinion, that Seth Rich was in fact the leaker. Now with Kim.com statement, I'm sitting around a 57 to 65% chance that that Seth Rich was the leaker. 57 to 65%, right?
Now we're going to get into a lot more of what Tim Pool had to say soon, but with his highly scientific,
greater than probability chance,
random ass statistic that Tim used to assign validity to Kim.com's statement, I'm sitting at a 157 to 1,066% chance that all this was indeed an extremely desperate attempt to use highly dubious legal threats to censor credible reporting. Yeah. Now, I assume this name Kim.com may have stood out to some of you.
Stop! Stop this madness! Let's all be friends!
So we're going to explain who that guy is for the uninitiated, believe me. But before we do, I think it's pretty relevant to note that although Tim Pool threatened litigation against those who said he pushed the Seth Rich conspiracies, when a Gizmodo reporter asked Kim.com for even just a shred of evidence to back up his highly specious mountain of claims that Seth Rich was in fact the DNC, Clinton, and Podesta email leaker who, by the way, was tragically slain, and Kim baselessly swore he was murdered by assassins sent by Hillary Clinton, it started a huge and disgusting conspiracy. Kim gave the reporter 3 links to substantiate this, one of which was, in fact, hey, take it away, Ned. Are you ready for it? Oh my god! It's a Tim Pool video. Wow, that's interesting. Why don't we take a look? Oh no, it's deleted. Gee, I couldn't possibly see that coming. Very odd. But you know, the one thing that I don't really get here is why didn't Tim threaten to sue Kim.com? I mean, he threatened litigation before, and here is Kim himself saying that the evidence for the Seth Rich conspiracies is in Tim's own video. But I thought that all Pool did was talk about a thing, right? But you know, I just wonder which Tim Pool video he's talking about, because there are at least 4 now deleted videos that I know of where he discusses it, which, by the way, hey, I have them too. But first, who is Kim.com?
Let me introduce you to the good life.
I really apologize for that. I just couldn't help it. But I did forget to add. Okay, so Kim.com is a notorious hacker / billionaire who created Mega Upload. Tim interviewed him in 2013.
I have met Kim.com on more than one occasion. I have been to his house, and I actually have ridden on his Segway. Kim.com and I rode a golf cart down a hill by his giraffe, and then he pulled the handbrake and we went sliding.
He golf cart slid with the guy. You can't get much more intimate with a man than that. But anyhow, to me, in spite of all those other things, Kim.com is first and foremost the worst EDM artist of all time.
Here we go now, going crazy, going faster, motherfucker. I just wanna have fun, on the beach, in the sun. I just wanna feel good, all the time, like I should.
If that doesn't convince you, nothing will, and I refuse to play anymore because I don't want my ears to bleed. But Tim actually played backup vocals on an unreleased track.
Freedom's what we are fighting for.
I'm a little choked up by that, mostly because I really want to vomit. But anyhow, Kim spent over $1 million of his own money on this album with perhaps the most unfortunate cover art of all time. One reviewer referred to it simply as Sonic Doom. One of the producers referred to it as that fucking atrocious album, while its guitarist describes it as
Pure fucking torture.
I am genuinely feeling like a strong 0 on this record. It's like a strong 0 to a light 1. This was horrendous.
Personally, I think they're all being kind. He reportedly spent $24 million, again, all his own money on this micro-penis compensator of a music video gone horribly wrong. You know, I'm not always one to say eat the rich, but there's a decent amount to eat there. But yeah, there is actually a reason for mentioning his self-funded disaster of a music career, or what I regard to as the Chernobyl of vanity projects, because it speaks to the lengths that Kim.com will go to for self-promotion or to achieve his own ends, and that definitely includes, and I'm probably going to use this word at least 50 times before the end of this video, disgusting lies. And that pretty much brings us back to Tim Pool.
So here's the thing. I don't care if you're Fox News, the New York Times, or Wilford Brimley. If you tell me something, you've got to back it up. I have a pretty high degree I have a decent burden of proof. If you're going to convince me, you got to. If I don't see it, I don't believe it, right? Pixar didn't happen.
Okay, so first of all, this is the internet. Tim did say Wilford Brimley, so I'm contractually obligated to throw in
Diabetes.
Okay, so now I think it's a good time to give a quick nutshell summary of the countless claims Kim.com made that met Tim's strict picks or it didn't happen threshold. Numerous times he said things like,
I knew Seth Rich. I know he was the WikiLeaks source.
and of course also,
Seth Rich was killed for that reason. Seth is one of many Clinton victims.
And as far as evidence goes, the most he ever gave was in response to Fox's Sean Hannity, when he simply said,
I am the evidence.
Which is, of course, you know, how most people who truly possess evidence convince others that they actually have it. Winky face, in case that didn't register as sarcasm. Now, look, I'm going to annihilate the Seth Rich conspiracies in general soon, and tear a galactic hole through the ass of Kim.com's 4-alarm dumpster fire chasm of bullshit claims as well. But first, let's just disintegrate some grade A horse crap that comes straight from Pool himself. Now, Pool's claims that he didn't push the Seth-Rich conspiracies are again obviously false due to the whole
greater than probability chance
thing, because obviously he's assigning a positive likelihood to the notion that Seth-Rich was the leaker, a claim which should very much be dismissed on its face. But Tim also basically says he only spoke loosely about the case and never treated the claim that Rich was murdered by Hillary Clinton DNC assassins seriously. That is false.
And I want to be pragmatic here and say this. Although Seth was killed close to his home and it was not a high crime area, we have to weigh in the fact that sometimes people get murdered.
Okay, so far, so somewhat mediocre, because yes, there was a string of armed robberies in that area that year, but no big deal for the most part. Relatively pragmatic, fine, and that continues for a bit. But wait for the pivot.
We have to weigh in the fact that sometimes people get murdered, right? And sometimes people win the lottery. There's an astronomical odds that there were some gangbangers and they were doing an initiation.
Okay, well, hey, let's be fair. At least he's giving astronomical odds that it could have been a gangbang initiation. He's not shutting out the actual explanation completely there. He's leaving the door open for an astonishingly low needle in a haystack chance that it wasn't a staged assassination. Perfectly reasonable.
I personally think that's a very, very slim chance, but I want to entertain the thought because I try to be pragmatic and I don't want to jump to conclusions.
So imagine, if you will, that I said this. It's important that we be pragmatic here. Sure, there is an astronomical chance that the Earth is in fact spherical and not indeed completely flat. I personally think that's a very slim chance, but we don't want to jump to any conclusions here. Well, in that case, I would be pushing the flat Earth conspiracies. So Tim has really stepped at it here. He jumped from just pushing Seth-Rich was the leaker conspiracies to Seth-Rich was murdered for being the leaker conspiracies. And you know what? It's okay. I just wish he'd admit it rather than threaten to sue people over it. I mean, I support the conspiracy theory that Tim Pool isn't bald. That thing everyone thinks is a beanie is his hair! Look, does Tim play both sides at times, doing the fence sitter thing like he usually does, and give reasons for why the claim should be doubted? Yes, but again, the level of trustability he assigns Kim.com is both extreme and unmistakable.
I do find him to be trustworthy, right? At least to a certain degree. I am more inclined to believe him than distrust him. So, I think he definitely gets the benefit of the doubt in this one. I kind of believe him, I really do. I am more inclined to believe him than distrust him. I believe him. I really do. To what degree, I'm not sure.
Oh, come on, Tim. You must have worked out some sort of complex mathematical equation to determine how much you trust him.
From 0% to 100% trust, I would give Kim around a 65%.
Well, that's 65% more than I would personally give. And let's get into the myriad of reasons why. So Tim says of Kim.com,
we know who Kim.com is. He does have a pretty straightforward track record as it's been over the past few years. He's posted about it.
I'm sorry, just, excuse me for a moment.
Introducing the original Trumpy Bear, the fearless, super plush American Grizzly. Show your patriotism and proudly display Trumpy on Flag Day and on any American holiday. Trumpy can even honor your own family heroes.
God bless America, and God bless Trumpy Bear.
Simply style his trademark hair and place him in his favorite chair. Even the toughest guys will love Trumpy Bear.
When America is great, business is great. When business is great, I'm great. I love you, Trumpy Bear.
I am an Army veteran. I am proud to own the Trumpy Bear, and I will always be proud to be an American.
Order the Super Plush Trumpy Bear and receive a special certificate of authenticity. Don't miss out on owning a piece of American history. Trumpy, the most fearless bear anywhere. Order now.
So here's the thing. I don't care if you're Fox News, the New York Times, or Wilford Brimley.
Diabetes.
If you tell me something, you've got to back it up. I have a pretty high degree I have a decent burden of proof. If you're going to convince me, you got to. If I don't see it, I don't believe it, right? Pixar didn't happen.
So, back to Tim thinking that Kim.com had a pretty straightforward track record. Yeah, wow, that just kind of makes my mind go because, first of all, both in the days leading up to and while Tim was making this series of videos, Kim was tweeting incessantly about deep state conspiracies. This is maybe half of them. He did it a lot. Parroted Trump's totally baseless claims that Obama was tapping his phones numerous times. Kim was also posting Seth Rich articles from credible journalists like the Donald Zero Hedge, Gateway Pundit, you know, that site that took an obvious joke tweet seriously and reported that millions of Antifa super soldiers were plotting to behead all white parents. Yeah, that Gateway Pundit. This was not uncommon for him. I mean, here he is posting Pizzagate stuff. And he also stated that infamous liar, fellow Seth Rich conspiracist, and human wad of squirming vermin, Roger Stone, had told him that the deep state was against him. And that is particularly hilarious because the same exact day, Stone himself wrote an article about how Kim's claims were a nothing burger and an obvious ploy. And again, yes, he may be a career horrible person and definitely looks like a Bond villain with a case of severe hemorrhoids, but that just speaks volumes to the fact that he thought Kim had nothing. And he was right.
Kim.com's actions seem to us an obvious ploy to try and get another chance at fighting his case here in the USA, while a free man living the good life and not from a federal prison cell.
Yes, Kim was fabricating all of this BS due to a pending case against him for a variety of charges, and one can debate whether they were truly justified, but he was willing to use blatant lies about Seth Rich, used his death as a political football, and helped toy with our elections to get himself off the hook. And that is nothing short of disgusting.
It would be irresponsible of me as a journalist to ignore the statement from somebody, anybody, who is making the claim.
No, Tim. As a journalist, you can discuss the fact that Kim made these baseless claims. I mean, that's fine, but your responsibility was to do actual research and come to the very obvious conclusion that he was lying. That is your journalistic duty. And yes, it was completely obvious. Okay, debunking time. Right off the bat, in order for the conspiracies to be true, you would have to accept the completely bonkers notion that Seth Rich's family, girlfriend, friends, co-workers, the Washington police, the FBI, CIA, multiple intelligence agencies, and several cybersecurity firms were all colluding together to suppress the truth because all of their information lined up perfectly a year before Kim ever even made these claims. And excuse me for getting angry, but that is just some grade A deep state. They're extracting adrenochrome from Asian babies at Comet Ping Pong level crazy shit. It really is that simple. There's no actual evidence for the conspiracies at all, literally. And you know what? On top of all that, the leaks were said several days after his death. I mean, come on! But anyhow, folks, I promise you the absolute dumbest is yet to come. But first, it's time for
Capitalism!
And today's Capitalism, once again, is a super fun, awesome-tastic little film I've told you guys about before. The TrapDoor at the Edge of the Universe. It's got wizards, it's definitely got cats, and guys getting viciously beaten with sandwiches. What more could you possibly want in a movie?
Nothing!
That ticks all the boxes. I did special effects for this sequence right here, so that's kinda neat. And you can see it for free on Amazon or Tubi. Links are down below, and that concludes today's
Capitalism!
Okay, so I just don't think that there are words to adequately describe just how much of a cataclysmically off-the-rails train wreck of a broadcast that was for Tim. It was just not a good showing for Mr. Pool. He had that whole "picks or it didn't happen" monologue at the top right. He's got a huge burden of proof. He's been pretty vocal that he believes Kim.com, and yet he says things like,
I will be shocked if there is hard evidence, like even an email between Kim and Seth, or Kim or Seth and WikiLeaks or anything like that.
What happened?
I really don't see that happening, but if it does, wow.
Okay, Tim. Yeah, he keeps doing this sort of flipping of expectations.
And so I think there really is a possibility that something happens on Tuesday.
Which is when Kim was supposedly going to provide evidence. He goes from that to...
I think it will just be a statement. I'm not convinced we're going to see any hard evidence that proves anything.
He makes those statements back to back, by the way. And when I say that, I mean that there's absolutely no air in between those two clips at all within the video. Guys, I really think something big is going to happen on Tuesday, but yeah, total lack of anything resembling actual evidence is what's going to happen. So that's going to be eventful. Again. Okay, Tim. There are several times where he stacks the validity of the Comey memo on Trump against the validity of the then recent Fox News article on Seth Rich, which, for context, was responsible for reigniting the Rich conspiracies, and he does so based on their sources.
Now, what some journalists have said to me is, look, Fox News cited one anonymous source with no proof. And I went, gee, just like the New York Times did with the Comey memo? Look, you can't have it both ways.
Okay, so this argument makes me feel like I have a flesh-eating virus in my brain. It operates on so many complex layers of stupid that it almost horseshoes into sounding sensible. We can't untangle it all, so I'll just mention the most basic thing, which is that Comey was still alive, you know? Unlike Seth Rich, he wasn't dead, and you'd think that if the Comey sources weren't reliable, maybe, just maybe, Comey, through the benefit of not being deceased at all, would chime in and say something like, hey, I didn't write this thing, Tim is acting like that's something that it was not possible for him to do. Now, let's get into some of the more embarrassing moments in Tim's video.
Someone says, is Alex Jones 100% fake news? No, I don't think so. I think Alex Jones is no different from any other partisan news website.
Sandy Hook is a synthetic, completely fake, with actors, in my view, manufactured.
I don't think Alex Jones makes things up.
I mean, quite frankly, I've been to these events. A lot of the KKK guys with their hats off. Literally, they're just Jewish actors.
You know, I would put InfoWars and Huffington Post in a similar bracket. Huffington Post is left, InfoWars is right.
The United States is preparing to nuke China, so get ready, assholes.
They've gotten away from a lot of the crazier conspiracy stuff, but...
They had in tanks people with gills, and they were little babies, and they were in there just gulping, clawing at the sides. They got humanoids crossed with fish and stuff. I mean... we are screwed, people. So
yeah, a lot of the stuff they put out now isn't fake news.
It's basically an intergalactic invasion into this space through people. I'm telling you, it's what all the ancients said, it's what they warned of, it's what we're dealing with. They're demons.
If you want to say that, I guess.
There's this gem right here.
But what I will say about Richard Spencer is that he's a nice person when you meet him and talk to him, like many contentious figures. He's not gonna punch you in the face or silence you or anything like that. He's got opinions, he's allowed to have them. I disagree on a lot of his opinions, but that's really about it. I don't think he is a Nazi, but he certainly did say Hail Victory and raise a glass. And, so there it is. Yeah, Richard Spencer.
Well, that aged like dog puke. So now we're really going to drill down into the essence of Tim Pool. What is Tim Pool? What is his major function in the universe, other than that of a hot dog receptacle? Well, within these videos, he frequently discusses mainstream media.
It literally blows my mind. The standard for journalism is trash in this country.
Like every day, there's some new fake news coming from large mainstream.
The burden of proof for the average person who watches the mainstream media is literal garbage.
Okay, one, yeah, sure, he's not altogether incorrect, duh. And two, of course, anyone that knows Tim knows that there is no shortage of this stuff at his work. He's constantly in a state of panic over the death of media.
Journalism is dying, journalism is dead, journalism has been dead for at least 3 weeks now. Can someone please help me get this corpse out of my living room?
And there's definitely a reason for that, but hold that thought for later though, because he very soon pivots into discussing his videos where he visits the no-go zones of Sweden.
Do you have any idea the insane shit I could have reported on Sweden if I used the same standards as the mainstream media.
Yes, Tim, let's talk about those standards. And thank you for giving me a reason to talk about this, because it's some really interesting stuff. Now, for context, this trip was partially funded by Paul Joseph Watson of InfoWars fame, seen here carrying on the conservative "it's funny because I'm wearing a wig" tradition. So let's just take a close look at the openings of Tim's first few videos on the topic.
Are you lost? What are you doing on this side of town? This
we were
Harlem of Malmo.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is this a bad area?
Okay, so that is quite the power combo that we have here. A leading question that you can barely hear the answer to, that just leaves you hanging, expecting the worst, especially due to the spooky music that kicks in. And to top it all off, he's titling the video a pretty inaccurate and kind of racist trope. I mean, Harlem isn't without crime, but it's not like Death Wish 3 these days by any stretch. It doesn't even crack the top 20 New York areas in terms of the most violent crime per capita. So does that maybe seem just a little sensationalistic to you? Well, let's take a look at what the answer, in fact, was to Tim's question, which we later get several minutes into the video.
We were Harlem of Malmo.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is this a bad area? We were told that
they write about it, but
right,
it's not
right.
so bad.
Everyone's saying that Rosengard was very dangerous.
The other side is not dangerous. I don't know.
They said that we'd get robbed if we came out here.
No.
And nothing happened.
No.
Wow, Tim just shut down with a symphony of no's there, and he's really trying too.
They said that we'd get robbed if we came out here.
No.
Yes, Tim does eventually play the exchange, but it's classic bait and switch and leading questions. The videos are full of this kind of thing. I would like to note, though, that after this evening, he had a totally not awkward at all conversation with Swedish media.
Yeah. I've certainly proved that there's no war zone in Rosengard, and that you can walk around with big cameras, and you can walk around with young white women without issues.
Nice.
Well, hey, I walked these streets with several white female women, and not a single one of them was brutally by a crazed horde of brown people, so I have single-handedly proved this city is safe. You're welcome, people. But yeah, now keep following me here, because I know this may all seem like a new rabbit hole and all, but it's not. It all ties together. So if you've watched Thought Slime's Hats Off to Tim Pool, which, you may just have mistaken for my own video, happens all the time, then you may recall that Tim goes to great lengths to point out that this mayor that he interviews happens to be left-wing. By the way, I love this exchange.
We can go to Ramsberg, is where the cars are burning, so we can go there.
Yeah. We should go there simply because people expect us to die.
Okay. That is just really out in the open with the game plan there. You know, the people who funded this really wanted it to be a total bloodbath to confirm their horrible preconceptions of immigrants and Muslims being uncontrollably violent, so yeah, take me there. Anyhow, again, he goes out of his way to point this out, yet flat out just does not mention that this journalist, Ivar RP, is pretty freaking right-wing. In fact, he doesn't mention that he's right-wing at all. He complains about how there's a left-wing bias that is chilling the right's free speech, yet he writes for the biggest news site in Sweden, and shockingly has no problem saying things like radical gender ideology is taking over our universities. Anti-racism is really just white guilt. Globalists and the power elites are forcing Eastern Europe to embrace immigration, and it's perverted, apparently. And finally, that social justice is manipulating Google image searches to benefit the blacks and gays at the expense of heterosexuals and white people. The man can clearly be wrong, awful, and delusional without much repercussion, so Tim's story really checks out there. So yeah, Tim regards this man, Chang Frick, as just right-wing, doesn't disclose that he's a journalist, and in fact a really right-wing journalist who runs one of the most popular far-right publications in Sweden, which incidentally, along with two other sources, accounts for 87% of the fake or junk news in Swedish media, according to a recent Oxford study. He doesn't bother to tell you that this guy is also kind of right-wing, and side note, he later went on to publish this book with Chang in 2020. Coincidence? But these three guys, wow, let me tell you about them. They are all part of the Free People's Movement. Sounds kind of neat, huh? No. They are a super duper batshit political fringe group. They're anti-globalist, anti-banker, anti-Bilderberg mafia. It's basically a fancy way of saying anti-Jews, and anti-Jews. They think they're responsible for everything from immigration connection to 9/11 to the Holocaust. I'm not shitting you. Here's their leader, Karl Norberg, accusing the Jews of being behind the Holocaust. Here he is claiming that so-called survivors gave themselves concentration camp tattoos. I wonder if he thinks these kids tattooed themselves. Yes, I did verify the translations. There's tons of posts like this. He's straight up done Nazi podcasts, and I must emphasize, this is not an internet rumor. These guys are with De Fria. It was discussed in Swedish media. Here's their Facebook message announcing that they're in the video. You can clearly see that this guy just chilling with Tim here is Matthias Andersson. You can see him here and here interviewing Norberg. He has tons of articles on their website and is even depicted in their website art. This guy right here is Charbel Kawak, and his Twitter feed is just about all Karl Norberg retweets. Tim says he met them at a kebab stand in Rinkeby, but they don't live anywhere near Rinkeby at all. Guys, this is seriously...
I am offended that anyone dare criticize, especially in Sweden, dare criticize my reporting.
He is offended that anyone would dare criticize him for platforming a totally cray-cray group of fringe political anti-vax satanic Illuminati weirdos that think Jews are responsible for their own Holocaust and that immigration is just a money-making scheme to usher in a police state devised by, yeah, those deep state Jews. And yes, that is exactly what they believe. You could hear this man obliquely referring to it right here.
Yeah, and that's why the politician, because they've been abusing this situation for their own wealth.
But then this guy just really spells it out.
Didn't it say that they need more migrants to support the economy?
Yeah, to support the Ponzi scheme.
Immigration is a Ponzi scheme. Now look, that's not all just some stupid stuff that some stupid guys said. You could find these stupid ideas in plenty of their stupid group, stupid statements. Refugees are debt slaves, aka moneymakers. Here they are saying that Trump's Muslim ban wasn't Islamophobic, he just wanted to prevent deep state destabilizers from entering the country. Oh, okay. And one final thing, you know, these guys, they try and seem nice. Of course they do.
What I will say about Richard Spencer is that he's a nice person.
They have to be, but they really give away the game if you listen closely right here.
Why should you destroy the countries and take them to another country to create another war?
He's saying refugees are creating a war in Sweden. Of course the data says the polar freaking opposite, but Tim presents these guys, who I should emphasize are named in this article, no doxing going on here, as just the salt of the earth, normal Swedish guys. He at the very least knows who they really are now, and he hasn't bothered to take down the video. And that is where we start to get at, what is Tim Pool?
You know, I'm not saying anyone's doing this deliberately, but there's kind of an opportunity for the right to highlight crime and say you were wrong the whole time, look at the problems it's caused.
No, Tim, people were doing that deliberately, and you were an accessory to that. You see, according to a study conducted by the Institute of Global Affairs, there was an international far-right smear campaign of Sweden in the lead-up to the 2018 elections, portraying it as a country in crisis and on the verge of civil war, basically to make it look like an immigration-induced hellhole, which, of course, benefited the Swedish right wing. Paul Joseph Watson got his very own write-up, as a matter of fact, and just about every single publication they mentioned discussed Tim's visit quite favorably, including all three sites I cited previously that make up 85% of the junk news media consumed in Sweden. One mentioned him practically more days than he was even there. Nordfront, basically Sweden's version of the Daily Stormer, was just
loving it.
I mean, they had a Tim Pool party, whatever that is. But most importantly, they note, along with others, including Chang Frick's Nieder Idog, Tim's strong plea for people not to trust the media. And so now, we are finally ready to answer that age-old question, qu'est-ce que Tim Pool? Ce n'est pas au chapeau. Well, let me tell you. Basically, we interrupt this crap to bring you this crap right here with Hey, It's Vadim. What? Well, thank you, Cece, and don't worry, we will be seeing you, soonish. But, hey guys, hold on to that previous thought for just a moment because I promise you this is going to be worth it.
So hey, recognize this picture? Eat your veggies.
Well, this is from the poll board on 4chan, and I never noticed till today that it says "Sup poll." That's because he did an AMA on this day, submitting this semi-well-known pic and later this one in order to verify that it was him. He also posted this deleted but now archived tweet as well. Remember how I said I'd give you the bald, naked truth? Well, he literally named this AMA in response to that occurring. This was known as the I'm Bald AMA. This was just about the time he published his now deleted spate of Seth Rich videos, so of course he was asked about it, and well, would you look at this, his responses were...
I think Seth Rich's murder is politically motivated.
And?
Seth Rich? Political murder, in my opinion. But I'm not 100% sure.
Now, full disclosure, this was before he was later verified over the course of the AMA, so these responses do read anonymous, but look, just trust me, okay? It's him. There's like all these context clues, and he says things that are exactly like what he'd later say in videos, but damn it, it's not conclusive. I know. Gosh, if only there was something that they gave, like a completely unique ID number that remains consistent throughout a 4chan thread, so we know for sure that it's him.
Oh my god!
Yeah, they actually do that. That is something that they do. And yeah, it's the exact same number that we find on every single one of his responses.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
So yeah, that's definitely him. Do we got him? Well, on one hand, yes, we totally got him. I mean, that's definitely him pushing that Seth Rich's murder was politically motivated here. We did have him before, but he is just spelling it out now, although to a relatively small and incredibly racist audience. Jesus Christ, Tim, why do you care what these people think? So, although it's incriminating for sure, I care more about the disseminating of bullshit on a more massive scale, and for that, let's talk about our final Seth Rich related example.
Dave Weigel of the Washington Post published a completely fictitious story about Kim.com hacking Seth Rich's Gmail account to plant evidence that he was the leaker. And then when he got, I'll just put it this way, to be very careful of the litigation, 6 months later, the entire story was changed to become hypothetical.
Okay, so that is just... And on numerous levels, this lie is far more devious than it sounds on the surface, but before we break that down, I want to note that you can also find this claim in a video that is still up on Tim's channel.
The same organizations that write fake news and then 6 months later change it, and no one knows what the changes were.
I found him lying and whining about it in this conversation with Michael Tracy on Twitter. Who knows how many times he spread this lie? 1, the article is by no means, as Tim puts it, completely fictitious. The overwhelming majority of it is indisputably correct. He acts as though one small portion that could possibly be untrue is the entirety of the story, but it gets worse from there. Yes, the article was updated 6 months later, but it was also updated the very next morning. Archives show that all adequate changes were made at that time, but it gets worse from there. The changes that Tim is lying about in order to spook you, by the way, that occurred 6 months later. You want to know what those were? Take it away again, Ned.
Okay, are you ready?
They deleted the words,
Hannity's interest is piqued.
And added,
which the studio decried as fake.
That's seriously it. That's all the changes that were made. The links are down below. The corporate media overlords are just stabbing your brain with vicious lies. Oh, how dare they? But you know what? It gets even worse from there because this is demonstrably not Tim being an idiot here. This is Tim lying to you. Tim knew it was edited sufficiently the day after it was published, because here he is admitting exactly that in one of his deleted Seth Rich videos.
Now, to his credit, when I spoke with Dave Weigel about the story, he told me, very bluntly that they got the story, they waited on it a little bit, other people contributed. He included the qualifier may. Kim.com may have tried to do this, or a New Zealand hacker may have tried to do this. Now, in my personal opinion, it's not good enough, but
He did update the article.
That's all he says about it. But anything remotely misleading, and there really wasn't much, you can compare yourself. Links are down below. The updates that he lies and says occurred 6 months later, they happened the very next day. He knew that. Finally, I want you to remember that all of this was in defense of Kim.com.
Absolutely insane. This article was out of line.
He gets so offended on Kim's behalf when Kim was the one who was actually posting completely fictitious batshit nonsense.
They never called us to check any facts. They took a rumor and ran with it. They took more from us with the lies.
It's years later, and Kim is still doing this. He's even used Seth to cross-promote Mega Upload. Disgusting. If Tim wanted to call out actual media malfeasance in regard to Rich, he could have chosen tons of far worse stories, like the Fox News article he foolishly took seriously that the Rich family successfully sued over. Instead, he chose to stand the guy who he went Segway riding with, and who he had super fun golf cart times with, who any idiot could tell was lying his goofy cornball EDM music ass off about. Why did he do that? Well, I'll tell ya. But real quick, I want to say Vosh, a controversial guy, whether you love him, hate him, you can't deny that he had a pretty exceptional showing in his Tim Pool debate.
They're all
You claim to have like this, a disaffected sort of like anti-establishment view of all of this, but your channel is hyper partisan against the left, and then when anyone criticizes Trump, you'll either defend him harshly or you'll back up and say, well, they're all bad.
But I would like to challenge Mr. Vosh to rethink this statement right here.
I do think I was wrong. I actually don't think Tim Pool is a grifter. And I can say that because before the podcast started and after the podcast ended, he spoke with the exact same conviction on the exact same subjects that he had during the podcast. You can take from that what you will.
My takeaway is that Vosh is doing the bad reasoning there, because, people know that they are going to be talked about afterwards. I don't think they're just going to turn it off and on like whatever this strange thing is that I found stock footage of. Now, that's not to say that he doesn't believe any of the dumb things that he's saying. I'm sure he does. But look, I've just heard many creators I respect echoing Vosh's statement since he made it, and after doing this video, I just think it ascribes a level of honesty and integrity the dude just does not deserve. I mean, what is one of Tim Pool's main things? It's the whole, I'm a centrist lefty guy.
What happens when moderate leftist Tim Pool calls out the insanity that is infecting the Democrats?
I mean, he voted for Obama.
I voted for Obama in 2008.
Of course, I voted for Obama in 2008.
I'll tell you what, I voted for Obama in 2008. I didn't vote for Ron Paul.
I'll tell you what, that's pretty weird, because in this 2011 interview, Tim says that he didn't vote for Obama, he voted for Ron Paul.
Wow.
So yeah, just a little something for everyone to chew over. And now I swear on this little fluffy dude's fluffy face, it is time to answer the question,
what is Tim Pool?
Well, some say he's a hot take machine.
T'Challa, the main character, the guy, he's literally Black Panther, was basically like a Trump supporter.
Undeniable. Some say he puts a friendly face on fascism.
Are the people coming here Nazis? No.
We're proud to be white. Hail victory.
But more than anything, what's the number one rule with cults? You have to cut people off as much as possible from the outside world, because that's how they get their claws into you. When he does things like lie to Destiny's face about that Seth Rich article, there's a function to that. He's reinforcing to his audience how the mainstream media cannot be trusted, and this helps insulate people further into their highly dubious right-wing media bubbles. You see, they need you inside there. Therefore, InfoWars is not fake news. This Seth Rich article lied to you. Don't trust the Swedish media. I mean, there's all this self-censorship going on there. Mainstream media is dying. It's collapsing. They are panicking. They got woke, went broke, because it's all ending, probably because they are upping their dosage of insane rhetoric, and it's going to start the next civil war or something. Look, I'm not shilling for mainstream media here, but there is an ecosystem of right-wing media grifters, and they benefit greatly from folks like Tim, who project to many, I don't know why, a false image of journalistic integrity and left-wing centrism stuff.
I voted for Obama in 2008.
By playing the unbiased media critic, while pumping left-wing media and political fear porn into his audience, and simultaneously boosting, defending, collaborating with, and giving practically no criticism whatsoever to the circle of
journalists
he surrounds himself with. He vicariously makes them and other lying, liary liars look like truth tellers to his audience. That is Tim Pool's function in the universe.
That is Tim Pool.
So yeah, one last important thought, but before that, I want to say, hey, if you enjoyed this video and would like to help me earn a living wage, you, my friend, would be amazing! So consider becoming a patron on my Patreon. You'll get soundtracks to all my videos and more cool stuff that I can't think of right now. You can also tip me on PayPal, and there will be a part 2 to this video. Don't worry, it's gonna be short. I've got more bombs to scatter into the Tim Pooliverse, so subscribe to make sure you don't miss that. It's coming soon. Don't forget TrapDoor, and please, please, please subscribe to the truly mind-blowing Eamon animations. He's just like next level stuff. Links to him and everyone else involved down below. You know, it's funny because about a year and a half ago, I made a video where this happened. And the idea behind that, I guess, was I thought Tim Pool was the poor man's Dave Rubin. Rubin, to a large extent, was the guy doing Tim Pool's thing. But a lot has changed since then. It's almost like they've swapped places. I don't know how to end this video.
The left is fractured completely. I'm evidence of it, right? So is Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin said the left left him. He's not wrong.
Smile.